Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everyone? It's Geoff, Mosher, Adam Caplan, and it is our final game preview, regular season game preview of the 2021 season. It kind of went by like that, although it did, as we talked about, feel like two different seasons. But this will be it. The Eagles play the Cowboys. We'll talk a little bit about the game, and then, of course, the playoffs after that. So, Adam, as you know, you and I already know, this is going to be a little bit different because we know that the game isn't as meaningful as any of the first 16 that went on. So this game, neither team is really going to. They're. I think for the Eagles, their playoff seeding isn't even in their hands. It's based on what San Francisco does and some other teams, and of course Dallas. Very slim chance of being able to improve theirs. So the game will not have as much meaning. So what we're going to do in this podcast, instead of going down, hey, how are the Eagles wide receiver is going to stack up against this Dallas secondary? What we're going to do is talk about a little bit about the game, about some of the injuries that are going on, big picture stuff as the Eagles get ready to finish their season and then go into the the postseason for their first game. So, and there are some really interesting topics to talk about right now. I mean, the running game we'll get into, the defense we'll get into, coaching, everything like that throughout the course of this podcast. But as we sit here today, it's the only unfortunate thing about this week and this game is that an Eagles-Cowboys game doesn't have the same juice that it would normally have. You know what I'm saying? I remember saying earlier, I didn't like the fact that they were playing so early in the year. And I think I even mentioned, what if that last game comes down to meaning nothing? Then you have two games that are just like lacking of the juice that they would normally have.
Isn't it so funny you say that? Because if you would have told me it meant nothing, I would have said, oh, it won't mean anything for the Eagles because they're not going anywhere.
Right.
Who knew? As a matter of fact, through 17 weeks this season, there are 5 wins over last season where they finished 4-11-1. They finished, they didn't finish, they have one more game, but through 17 weeks this season, they have 9 wins versus 4 last year. So a 5-win increase with a new head coach. I don't want to say it's unheard of. It's just so surprising. And it's another thing we had not talked about, which we should have mentioned. Now we're mentioning it, that they're 5 wins over last year through 17 weeks.
Yes.
It's hard to believe.
Hey, someone asked a really good question before we get into the pod that I thought we could talk about really quickly to start it off. And it has to do with, he said he was having an argument, and I'm going to try to find the person's name because it was a good comment. It was on YouTube, and he said he was having an argument with a friend about whether or not a team has beaten like the Eagles right now don't have any wins over any teams that are above 500. But when they played the Carolina Panthers, I think Carolina was 3-1 at the time. And so when they beat the Carolina Panthers, they beat a team that was above 500. So the question, and I apologize to the person who asked it, and I'll look real quick, but the question was, which one is the more fair way to judge? Is it beating a team while the record is at the time, or at the end of the year you look back and you say how many teams did you beat that were above,
or how they playing
500? Right. And I honestly, it's a little bit situational, but I personally like to take the whole year because I think that tells a bigger story about who you are as a team and who you are playing, and then say, did those teams you beat, were they over 500 for the year? That's how I like to look at it.
But that's the broader part of it. But I'm going to give them credit for that Denver win because Denver was good. They were actually good at midseason. Remember, they smoked around that time. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I'll double check. I think did they not beat Dallas, destroy them in Dallas?
They had destroyed them the week before, yeah.
So that is a legitimate win. You could say we can knock them about. Listen, the reason why I thought I picked the Eagles to win 78 games instead of what I originally thought 5 to 6, because their schedule was so good in the second half. I thought they'd finish well, maybe have some momentum going to the offseason, though they wouldn't make the playoffs. Well, they've done better than that. They've made the playoffs. Yes, they took advantage with a great schedule. And here's the other thing. It's not like that. A lot of good teams or just above average teams will have a couple clunkers where you go, how the hell did they lose that game?
Sure.
Obviously, theirs would be the Giant game, the first Giant game, which is inexcusable to lose there. We know what happened in that game. We don't have to rehash it. But look, they dumped the Jets after a terrible start. They had a slow start with Washington. They closed well. They were awful in the first half against the Giants. So they closed well. They found a way to win against Washington last week. So look, they're a team that's evolving to a certain point. They're getting better, I do believe. Are they where they need to be? No. As Jason Kelce said, in his little speech to the club a couple weeks ago to the players, they don't know how good they could be. They could be, which means they can be way better. They just
Right.
there's certain things. Are they a Super Bowl team? No. To be clear, there's certain things they do really well. We know about their run game. We know how great their offensive line is when everyone's playing. This week they're not going to be, but there's certain things they do with great, really good defensive line that's really coming alive. You Josh Sweat. Now, how good could this team be? I don't know. It goes on the question that the guy had, and your point. They beat up on so many bad teams. How do you evaluate them? Well, the Saint game, the Eagles ran over the best NFL's run defense. Okay, they were great coming out of that game, but they don't have Miles Sanders this week and probably not next week. So if that's the case, they may not be as good as we thought.
Yeah, no doubt. You bring up the Saints, by the way, and that's a team that was either 500 or a game under 500 when they played the Eagles, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't have a winning record at the time. I'm almost positive of that. But they're 8-8 right now. And if they win their last game of the season, they will finish as a 9-8 team. And I will look back on the Eagles season and say they did have a win over a team that was above 500 because they finished above 500, because that to me showed you that the Saints had some perseverance in them. They were pretty good. We know that their defense was very good. They shook off that loss to the Eagles, rebounded a little bit, got Taysom Hill back in there. And they're generally a good team. I mean, they're probably just a better quarterback than Taysom Hill, away from being really good, because their defense and offensive line are very good. And they didn't have Kamara when they played.
They were missing. It's been unbelievable. They got nailed on COVID. Both tackles been out for several weeks. Ramczyk just came back. Right. Armstead missed time. Michael Thomas out for the season. Deontay Harris, their special teams returner, was suspended. You mentioned Hill. He also got hurt. Jameis Winston tore his ACL. They got crushed with COVID on defense. Yeah, they you're right. They'd be probably a top four NFC team. Now, your point's fair on Taysom Hill. We're not really sure how good he is.
Right.
But look, they've benefited from the schedule.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just going to say they've done a good job of figuring out who they are. It's the identity thing is so important.
Sure.
I remember my friend Sterling Sharp. I worked with him many, many years ago. Sterling said that the key to being a good NFL team is knowing who you are. He's used this line like, know your identity. The Eagles absolutely know who they are. Now, Sirianni, I didn't agree with him when he said we don't know what our identity was. Well, he repeated it one more time after they started running the hell out of it. I'm like, yeah, you know who they are. You guys are a running team. Come on. So that's who they are.
No, identity is a big part of what a team is over the course of a year. And that's why I think sometimes I resist if you're trying to judge whether you beat a 500 team or not at the time, like you play them early. I remember in 2019, Carson missed the first two games because of his still coming back from the ACL. Nick Foles started the first two games. 2018.
Yes, 18. Correct. It would have been 18. Yeah.
Carson's first game back was against the Colts. He won that game. Played really well in that game for a guy coming right back. The Colts were 1-1. Okay. Now, you remember that season didn't go very well. He had to win some games late, and then Nick Foles took over. But I remember people saying, you know what, this Carson guy didn't even beat a team that was over 500 that year. Well, that's because the Colts were 1-1 when they faced them. But at the end of the year, the Colts were a 10-6 team. So that was a pretty good win for Carson that year, which is why when you're trying to judge whether you beat a 500 team or not in September, that's unfair. I mean, nobody knows what they are in September. Yeah, context matters. Absolutely. So good stuff there. Good conversation. And I hope we gave a good answer for the person who's arguing with their friend. All right. We're going to do our pregame show Saturday. Obviously, the game's on Saturday. So the pregame show
tomorrow,
Saturday, 10 a.m. Yeah, tomorrow, 10 a.m. till noon. Myself, yourself, usual suspects, Greg Cosell and Jason Yvonne. I'm glad they were all able to work it out on their schedule. We thank them. So it should be a great show.
Guys.
And we're going to do something similar there. And that, yes, we will analyze the game, but we're also going to get Greg's and Jason's viewpoints on the team headed into the playoffs, what they think about their chances and all that stuff. So that's going to be a great pregame show. really looking forward to it. And then we'll do another one for the postseason. I'm excited for that when that schedule comes out. The latest Q&A, I don't know if you caught it yet, Adam. It's out. It's on the podcast platforms.
I watched the clips.
You saw the clips. They had a Dallas Cowboy friend who is a friend of Quentin Michaels, who lives in Texas and is a Cowboys fan. And they brought him on, and those two roasted him and he roasted them. And it was some really good Eagle Cowboy banter. So it was really fascinating stuff. And then I thought Q and Jason also did a really good job of kind of analyzing the big picture here with who the Eagles are, what they might have to face in the playoffs, what their viability is, and how the matchups might look. They didn't go too deeply into it, but they gave you their kind of initial synopsis. So it was a good show.
There are two guys who've been in the playoffs, so they know this is great.
Yes,
to hearing them, and then also them doing the show next Thursday prior to. Oh, by the way, the playoff game would either be Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. Remember, they have Monday night, yes, for the wild card round.
Please don't be Monday.
I know, I'm with you, man.
Don't be Monday. Oh, I don't want that.
I know that would be bad for everybody. I want it. Here's a better. Let me throw this back.
The problem is there's probably a good chance of it because they want to put big markets on Monday night.
We have to see though when Dallas is playing. They'll want to get Dallas out of the way. New England, well, not New England anymore because Brady's not there, but where Brady's playing. But here's a question for you: would you rather have it Saturday or Sunday?
I would rather have it Sunday.
And if you're the team,
I want football on a Sunday.
Football on Sunday, okay. If you're the Eagles, would you want to play Saturday to Sunday, get a little extra time off?
Oh, I think if you're the Eagles, you probably want to play Monday night, right? You want to get as much time as you got to go on the road. It doesn't really matter at that point.
No, but the next week, though, remember, the next week, then you could be playing on a short week.
That is true. Listen, I think the Eagles will sign up to be playing in week 2 of the postseason if it means that you play on Monday night.
I keep being asked this during the week, and I don't know if you have, but I keep, what is it going to take for them to win? I just think that we'll get into this in a second here. I just think not having Miles Sanders is going to be challenging, but we've got some solutions which we'll talk about when we get to the offense here. I have some ideas there's some things that they can do to help alleviate the issue. It won't be easy, but this coaching staff, my word, as you asked me after the game against Washington, their resiliency to figure things out. Both sides of the football. It's not just one. It's not just Gannon who really struggled the first half. It's Sirianni figuring out what works and what doesn't work with his personnel. It's not perfect, but he's done a good job of figuring that out.
No doubt about it. Look forward to getting into that. So Inside the Birds TV, most people, many of our viewers may have realized, hey, they haven't done one yet. That's because we had to adjust. We knew that the game was on Saturday of this week and that our podcast drops Monday morning. We don't really change that. So we didn't want an entire day to go by before everybody had to get our reaction. So our Inside the Birds TV will come out shortly after Saturday night's game, and it will really be you, Adam, and I recapping the game and giving our thoughts, and then we'll have more expansive thoughts after that on the Monday morning.
That'll be injuries.
Yeah.
Right. The Monday show will have injuries and little bit of early intel on their opponent because we'll know then obviously who they're playing. It's going to be fun because that's kind of the cool thing of them playing Saturday. It isn't. We don't know. We have to actually now watch Sunday. Eagle fans do to see who they're going to play. It's it's funny. They all seem to want. I mean, this has been. I look at social media and I look at our message board on Facebook. A lot of people want them to play Brady because there's no AB and no Godwin. I don't know. We talked about this our last show. I mean, I know he doesn't move well, and he shredded them. He killed them the first matchup. But those two guys are not there. I don't know. That's a tough call. We'll ask Yvonne and Cosell that on our show on Sunday.
Yeah, we will talk about it. I mean, people kind of forget when they're talking about Tampa Bay. Yes, they did lose these weapons, but Tampa Bay has a very good defense. They have a good run defense, which is what the Eagles do best. And they already played, and you saw how they were able to get Shaq Barrett in particular and somebody else, the linebacker,
out.
White.
Yeah,
Shaq Barrett's out for the year?
Shaq Barrett has a partial. Now, this is what Bruce Arians said: a partial ACL and MCL tear. I'm hoping at some point it's going to have to be reconstructed. The ACL, Ryan Tannehill went through his without getting it reconstructed the first time, and the repair didn't. What they did to give him the shorter version didn't wind up taking well, and he wound up re-tearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we have Dr. David Chow on or something if they play the Bucks, but
Right.
who, by the way, if you recall, it's funny when you were talking about Wentz coming back from his ACL injury. It's one of the first guests we ever had on ITB in 2018. Remember, he discussed Wentz coming back from that injury and why it might be a little bit longer. He explained why it was longer than when he thought. And I actually talked to him this week. He had some thoughts on Miles Sanders. So, you know what? Maybe we'll have him on soon.
All right, that would be good. Not bad idea. But anyway, I think Tampa Bay's defense is still really, really good. I mean, I know we're talking playoffs here, so a lot of teams have good defenses. Dallas has a good defense, but I just don't want that to get lost. So when everybody says, "Oh, you got to play Tampa because they're banged up offensively," yeah, but they got a championship caliber defense as well. All right, we will get into the podcast in a second. First, as I always do, talk about our friends at Deal Dash, the online shopping platform that's actually fun. It's the longest running penny auction website and app around. And what does that mean? It means that you can get amazing things on Deal Dash for just mere pennies. Just got to beat out the next person who's willing to bid mere pennies to get what they want. And when I say get what you want, we've seen a car go for $900, a brand new TV for less than $2. That's a brand new TV, less than $2.
Amazing.
All right, 200 pennies. You just got to sit there and bid pennies. So don't be a loser. Stop paying full retail price for things you want and get on Deal Dash. Go to DealDash.com or download the app. And when you register, enter the promo code ITB for a special offer for some bonus free bids. All right. Let's talk about some of the transactions, Adam, because on Monday, we read the laundry list of players who went on the COVID list, and not too many, as we record this, have come off yet. So that's a fairly interesting.
No, it's
seeing how much easier it is to be able to come off the list.
That's right. So we'll see later today on Friday if anyone comes off. So on Wednesday, they didn't have any transactions Thursday. I am a little bit surprised as you were that no one of the 12 has come off the list yet, but they did get. Now this one actually could wind up being important. I'll explain it. Keyshawn Johnson came off of the COVID list on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. He actually may play a lot in this game because the starters, if they play, will not play very much. And here's a perfect opportunity to evaluate him. This is part of the theme of this show today is why it's important to get a good look at the backups. This is a perfect opportunity. As you said earlier, there's really not very much benefit for playing the starters a lot to get the 6th seed. They're playing week 1. As you said, they're on the road. It doesn't really matter. They're playing great matchups. It's not like they're going, okay, well, if we lose, this happens, or if we win, this happens. They're not worrying about that. This is not about moving from the 6th seed or the 7th seed to the 3rd seed, potentially getting a home game. That's different.
Right.
There's no benefit here. They'll be smart about it. But here's a perfect opportunity, if assuming he feels well, for him to play a lot in this game to get an evaluation.
Throw him the damn ball. He's Keyshawn Johnson.
The other Keyshawn. This is K-E-E.
Keyshawn Johnson.
K-E-E.
That's right, K-E-E. No, you're right. I've heard similar things, that this game is going to have the look and the feel of maybe a first or a second preseason game where you'll have some starters in there playing, keeping fresh, not going to be like the whole game. And it sounds as if some guys, and of course the COVID list may play a role in this because as we've just talked about, starters are on it and not off of it yet. It sounds like some guys who are nursing injuries or on that list may not go. So that really makes it like kind of a preseason game where you've got a mix of guys. You remember which game was it? Was it preseason game 1 that everybody started the first series except for Miles? Miles Sanders was like the only starter.
That was weird. Remember that?
Right? Yeah, it was very odd.
We never to this day could figure it out. Like I know some people are speculating they were trying to trade him or something, which was not the case, but it was weird. I mean, I don't know to this day. And then Sirianni just kind of brushed it off. I remember, no, he's playing the next game, which he did. Mm-hmm. But it was well, it was funny because Sanders, if you remember, we noticed it. The beat reporters noticed it that Sanders was not practicing a lot. He looked really good, but he didn't work a lot.
Right.
And now you see why with all these injuries he's had.
Yep.
Geez, he doesn't need any more work. He just needs to stay off the injury report.
Yeah. All right. So Keyshawn Johnson should play, should be active. Who else? We had a workout that took place.
Oh, All right, the reason why I put this out, they didn't work any other. Over the last 2 weeks, they've worked out a couple players. There was only one of note, and I say it's of note. Brock Miller is a punter. Now, I'm going to tell you, why do you think this guy gets a lot of workouts around the league? Let's see if you can figure this out. This is a good one.
I would think for the same reason people have two kickers. Like, you don't want to lose a punter on the COVID list and have nobody to punt. No?
All right, I'll give you a better hint. This is actually, I should have given you a better hint.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
He's been working out for teams a lot over the last 2 or 3 years. Some teams a lot. This is the second time he worked out for the Eagles this season. Another hint. He did it prior to a game against the same team. I just kind of gave it away if you could figure it out.
What does he kick field goals too?
No, you're getting
long snapper?
No. But it's
probably just being absent-minded right now.
He's a left-footed punter. The punter for Washington is a left-footed guy.
So he's literally here to practice against.
What happens is, he can't practice. What they do is they work him out and they tape it. This guy, I'd have to look. I used to chart this stuff. I believe he's had the most workouts of any punter in the last 3 years. He's the guy they want to get because they want to see the spin. They tape it. They tape the workout and they send him on his way. He's been on maybe a couple teams for a brief period of time, but he's the guy that teams are facing a left-footed punter want to see. So they bring him in because there aren't a lot of them. So they bring him, they tape it, and they send him on his way.
Man,
so Tress Way,
he doesn't get paid for working out, right?
Yeah, Tress Way is the left-footed punter, and just so funny that the 2 times they worked him out was right before, but the second time he didn't punt because he was on the COVID list.
Oh my God!
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I noticed really stupid
bizarre.
Shit like this.
Here I was being logical, thinking I'm being logical. Like, well, you lose a punter on the COVID list, you need to have somebody who can get in there and punt, especially in the in the postseason. But no, I guess I was off on that.
Although technically it could be, yeah. To your point, yeah, sure. Now that they've worked him out, they see he's healthy. They got to see him punt, but I'm reasonably sure because I remember checking into it because we actually put this on our show a couple of years ago, and it was for the same reason. We checked in with a team source said that was the reason because he's left-footed. They wanted to see it. They wanted to see him, see how the ball looked, and also get him on tape because they never know if back then it was Cam Johnson who's now with the Texans. But anyway, that's all that was. But if you want to know why they did it, he is a lefty.
All right. Well, I learned something new every day. Certainly that was one I was not expecting.
No one would know. I know.
Yeah, who would know that? Yeah. You have to be like a real transaction wonk to
well,
know that. You are a transaction
well, it's funny.
wonk.
We had not mentioned I'd stopped listening to the Eagles workouts on our show this year. I actually haven't read them since very early. Mm-hmm. And I saw this and I'm like, oh, Brock Miller's back. Gee, I wonder why. Let me look it up. Ooh, because I knew Tress Way was a lefty. I'm like, when did they play them? Right. And it matched up perfectly for the week. It was just weird. Like, all right, weeks 14 and 16. Okay.
All right, let's talk real quick about the playoff scenarios that we addressed earlier. The Eagles are the 7th seed currently. They can get to the 6th if they obviously have to beat Dallas, and then the Niners also have to lose to the Rams, which I believe would then get New Orleans in as the 7th and boost if New Orleans wins, right? That would boost
Eagles get them
the 7th. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Saints would be the 7th. No, you're right. And the Eagles would be the 6th. The Eagles have the tiebreaker over the Saints, so they can't.
What if New Orleans loses, though, and the Niners also lose? Then
Niners are in.
Niners are the 7 and the Eagles are the 6, right? No. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Wait. Say this again.
If the Eagles win, but the Niners lose and New Orleans loses, then the Eagles get the 6 and the Niners get the 7.
Correct.
Because they have,
yes.
Okay.
Yes, because they both would have more wins.
Right.
But you just wait. Did you say if the Eagles and Niners lose in this?
No, I said if the Saints and Niners both lose, and the Eagles win.
Yes,
then basically the Eagles and Niners just trade places. Where Eagles get 6, Niners get 7.
Trade places, which was made in Philly. Yes,
1992. That's right. So there's still a lot of permutations here because, like, you could have the Eagles also lose. New Orleans wins. That would tie New Orleans and Philadelphia, but then the 49ers lose. That would make them 9-8. So you have 3 9-8 teams there, and it gets a little scattered. So
Eagles have the tiebreaker, right? The Eagles have the tiebreaker over the Saints because they clubbed them in Philly.
Right, but not over the Niners.
Right. I know. I mean, I
There's
didn't
different
write
rules
that one
for a
down.
three-way tie, if I'm
Yeah,
not mistaken. Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't write that one down. But yeah, it. And then with the Cowboys, they don't seem to care about the seed so much. And I'll get into what Jerry Jones said. It's more about being crisp because they were terrible against the Cardinals, so they made a nice run late to make the game closer than it was. But the Cardinals housed them. They really beat the hell out of them the first half.
Right.
But so the Cowboys can move from 4-3 if the Rams lose to the Niners, the Cardinals lose to the Seahawks. So do they care about that stuff? Maybe a little. I would say maybe a little bit. In terms of being home, right? Actually, no, they would be home. Yeah, they wouldn't have to travel for the 3, right?
Yeah, you don't travel over the 3. You're welcome
Right.
in the 6.
Right. And if you're 4, you travel. So that would have some points. But the big thing for them is they made it. Boy, McCarthy was he was clear as day. He's like, we need to play better. We're going to play our starters, but he didn't say for how long. Now,
for how long? Right.
Here's what Jerry Jones said, the owner and general manager and man about town on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas on Monday. We appreciate that. We didn't even ask for it, and they sent us his quotes. Thank you for that station to do that. Quote, we play on a Saturday night right now. Certainly things could happen where things could go our way. We need the momentum. We need to go out and work on our execution. This will be a big game for us. The Eagles are playing really well right now. They're locked in the playoffs, so we got a lot of work to do. Yeah, the gist was basically that they want to go in with some momentum. But we hear this over year after year after year. But what does that mean? One series, play great, get them the hell out, don't let anyone get hurt. Or, I remember Belichick. They 1 year, and I'll never forget this. And this was, you could see it on his football life or whatever thing they did on the 2009 Patriots. They're the number 1 seed, and they decided not to play Randy Moss, but they played Wes Welker. Wes Welker tears his ACL on the carpet at the Texans stadium. And why did you play him when you had the number 1 seed? That as much as I respect Belichick as the best head coach in NFL history, no doubt, I'm a big fan. That was stupid. That is risk versus reward, and where the risk was too great, and he shouldn't have done it. And to me, when you've got the number 1 seed, like if I'm Matt LaFleur, no one's playing. I understand you only have 47 spots, and we'll get into that on game day. So some starters are going to have to play, but I'm going to get them in and out quickly. I'm not going to take any risks if I can help it.
I'm not in disagreement with you. It's all about the playoffs, man. Got to be healthy and going into the playoffs. We talked a little bit about what to expect from a starter reserve standpoint for the Eagles. I do think, you mentioned we talked about Keyshawn Johnson. I think it'll be a good opportunity to get a look at some guys like John Hightower, for example. I would imagine that he'd be up, ready to go. With Sean Bradley hurt and the way they are at linebacker, you don't know how much of Wilson and Singleton you're going to – not Wilson, Edwards and Singleton you'll see. So Jacoby Stevens is up, and we know Davion Taylor's out for the year, so it's a good chance to get some Jacoby Stevenson in the game. Is it Stevens or Stevenson? Stevenson.
No N.
My bad. Stevens. Right. Jacoby Stevens getting the game. Zach McPherson, probably a good chance to take a look at him. And trying to think if there's anybody else that
are you ready for this
Johnson
one?
and Teron Jackson. Go ahead.
Well, here are your corners. They could actually have a great rotation of deep backups. Kerry Vincent, Tay Gowan, Zach McPherson, Josiah Scott. I mean, I'm telling you, you know what? I mean, if they keep bringing these guys, Vincent, they keep bringing him back. Well, you might as well take a look at him. Talk about a perfect example. To me, Darius Slay shouldn't play. He should not play.
Well, again, you wouldn't play him at all.
No,
well, he's not on the COVID list, correct? He was not one of those on the list.
I get it, but
I get it. It's a position that you just can't afford to lose a guy at.
That's it. Because they don't have the depth of starter. They don't have. I know that he's better than anyone they have, but like he's on the Slay Island. Everyone else is somewhere else.
Right.
But yes, you're right. You can't afford it. Zach McPherson, as we understand, he's definitely improved. He's not ready to be a starter.
No, not in a playoff. You're trying to win a playoff game, yeah.
Right. He cannot play. I wouldn't risk it.
So I actually wouldn't be surprised if he didn't play, Adam. Now that you think about it, I mean, because again, what we know is that some starters are going to play, but I mean, like, it doesn't mean everybody might. So I have no idea. I don't think we can sit here today and tell you who is and who isn't
Well,
specifically. So it wouldn't shock me if they withheld him.
well, let me go over the injury and COVID list. This is where they're at. I'm going to go by
time
position.
to go through that.
Oh, this would take a minute and a half. Offense: Hurts ankle. We'll get into what we think they'll do with him. Jordan Howard COVID list. Boston Scott COVID list. Miles Sanders out, broken hand. Wide receiver: Watkins knee. He's clear to play. Dallas Scott COVID list. Jack Stoll COVID list. So 2 of their top 3 tight ends are on the COVID list. Lane Johnson, right tackle, knee, questionable. Kelce, COVID list. Landon Dickerson, thumb, questionable, as you pointed out in your with your eagle eye.
My keen eye.
Yep. Nate Herbig, COVID-19. Jack Anderson, he's cleared to play with an illness. He may play a lot, by the way.
Yeah, I would think.
Defense, Fletcher Cox, COVID list. Bradley Stinger's been cleared. Singleton, COVID list. Avery, COVID list. Corners. A corner. Maddox, COVID list. Safeties. McLeod and Epps on the COVID list. So they're running out of players to play. So here's the way I would see it. If these guys don't go off the COVID list by tomorrow, because you can, with the latest protocols, you can bring players off on game day. But let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the doctor has to clear them. If they haven't practiced all week and they have some symptoms, or let's say the symptoms went away, how do you know they're going to have all their energy? Why would you even put them out there? Because you got a game next week.
And you make a great point on Darius Slay that I think you could equivalize or make an equivalent to Jason Kelce. You can't lose Jason Kelce, and he's already been fighting through injuries. So why would you play Jason Kelce? They may not. He's been, like you just said, he's on the COVID list all week long, so he's not practiced. And this is a guy who needs as much, not treatment. You just want him to have him as fresh as possible. So there's no reason to put him out there.
All right,
to be honest with you.
All right. Let me throw this back at you then. So, Hurts, would you agree with me? He needs some work.
Of course, he needs work.
How much do you? To me, it's one good series and take him out. Now, here's the other issue. You were just talking about it. If Kelce's not playing, he's already on the COVID list. And Herbig's the 2 starting offensive linemen, Kelce and Herbig, on the COVID list. Let's say they're not available. Now, again, coaches will tell you we don't like playing our quarterback when the starters aren't in. This is why you don't see in preseason starting quarterbacks play with backups. They don't want that done.
Right.
This is a real regular season game. I understand. Eagles don't have a lot of motivation for the game. So, do you play Dillard over Mailata?
I got no issue playing Dillard over Mailata. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll play Dillard. I mean, well, I don't know. The tough part is if I'm playing some starters, I want to be fair about it. I don't want to say, you have to start Devontae Smith, but Jordan Mailata, you don't. I mean, what's the difference?
I'm not playing see, this is what's the point of playing Hurts if he's going to play with backup?
The point is that they don't, it's a hedging. They don't want to hurt these guys, but they also don't want to go 2 weeks without these guys having any competition. This is not there are too many guys on this team who are young and, as you just said, need work to just put them on ice. And that someone's going to say, Mosher, what the hell do you? I'm just that's the sentiment that Nick Sirianni is echoing. Basically, I mean, he's basically said that. And if he plays some starters, which sounds like what he's going to do, then that's what he's telling you. He doesn't want 2 weeks off.
They're not happy with you picking Washington last week. Man, people are killing you over that.
I mean,
it's so funny. That one guy keeps doing it every day. He's like, I want to remind everyone that Mosher picked Washington. I guess the same guy when they were down at halftime by 9. Was it? Yeah, I think it was 9. You didn't say anything then. But we're having fun though. It's people. Man, it's funny though. I do wonder because people were killing the coaches. They were hating on the team when they were struggling at 2-5.
Mm-hmm.
Did you really think they were going to turn around? Come on, be honest about it, anyone. No one did.
Of course.
Plus, I want to see one. Raise your hand if you thought they were.
There are upsets every single week. If you just pick the favorite every single time, you're not going to do very well.
You're going to lose, actually. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. If I did what the fan, and I'm not saying all fans, just those who criticize us every time we pick them to lose. If I were to pick the Eagles to win every single game this year, I would have finished with a 9-8 record, right? Right, up till now, I'd be 9-8. Isn't that what the Eagles are? No, 9-7. I'd be 9-7.
Yeah.
That's what the Eagles are now. Do you know what my record picking this year is? It's 9-7.
We're all tied, right? So
we're all tied at 9-7. Right? So guess what?
That's great. That's so funny. It's true. It's true, man.
Yeah. So anyway,
this is tough, man.
So your point is valid, and I wanted to bring this up. It's hard to know what the offensive line is going to look like because Lane Johnson has been out all week, and I don't know if they're going to want to play him because he's questionable with the knee. It says knee and rest. I'm like, if you're questionable, it ain't just rest. Yeah, obviously your knee is also bothering you. I don't even know why they put rest on the injury report. But so if he's not going to play, are you going to move Mailata to right tackle to play Dillard at left? Or are you going to keep Mailata left, play Dillard at right? And then we've seen that
not
really backfire. Right. You don't want to, you're worried about your quarterback at that point.
No
exactly. Right. So what do you do? Do you play Brett Toth at right tackle? I don't know. Maybe LaRaven Clark plays right tackle. I'd feel comfortable with that, and I think he's done it before.
I just, as you just outlined this, I'm even more against Hurts playing. I remember, I got one for you. You might remember this. I know we've talked about it at least once in the 4 years you've been doing the show. Mm-hmm. For the life of me, I don't know if it was I who asked Danny to read this or someone else did, but it's so ridiculous. I think it was the last preseason game. I think it might have been the fourth preseason game or third preseason game or a playoff clinching. No, they already clinched a playoff spot. And he played McNabb, and there was literally no reason to do it. He played him for one play, not a series, one play, and got him out of there. I'm like, why would you do that?
I absolutely remember that, and that was.
And I was bizarre. So mad. I just as an observer. Look,
why Donovan was being punished for something.
what would you gain? Oh, he got his feet on the grass. Oh, this is ridiculous. Come on.
Yeah. And then there was a year where he did play the first series, but they ran the ball like I think he threw like a tunnel screen, and then they ran the ball 7 times, and then that was it.
And then what's the point? Just say what's the? Andy would say the feel. He definitely said this. He's the feel of the game is what he talked about. Right. But how do you get the feel of a game for one play?
I don't know, man.
I give up, man, with these coaches.
Anyway. All right, let's get into the Cowboys injuries. Well, I mean, one thing you don't have to worry about with your quarterback, Jalen Hurts, is that I love, and this is exactly what you're talking about as far as being cautious, right? Micah Parsons went on the COVID list on I think Wednesday. He could have come off if he tested negatively 2 days in a row, but Mike McCarthy ruled him out anyway. He said that's it. He's just not going to play.
Yeah, he's cautious. I know. They're not. It's funny.
He's vaccinated, so he could have theoretically come off. But
how about this?
Like, no, you're done.
No, he's not even coming. He's not coming to the game. So he's not even going to fly. I'm like, right. Why? Okay, he's like the chosen son. You know, he's like he's our next superstar cowboy. You know, we're not gonna even take any chance of being on the plane and whatever. Okay. So here's their injury and COVID issues. So Zeke with this lingering knee injury now for 2 months. He's going to be available. The question is, do they want to play him? Tony Pollard with a plantar fascia issue he's had for several weeks. And Tyron Smith will not play. He's on the COVID list. Mm-hmm. They're really down at 3 out of their 5 D tackles are on the COVID list. Odigizua, Tristan Hill, who's been out for a bit. Bohanna might have started. Quentin Bohanna might have started, but he's on the COVID list. Keanu Neal, who's that Jack linebacker who Dan Quinn brought over. Parsons, as you mentioned.
Right.
They're down at corner. So here's the latest. Anthony Brown went on it Thursday. Trayvon Diggs has an illness. He was added after Thursday's practice. Jordan Lewis is on the COVID list.
Ill. His is not COVID, just to be clear.
No, it's illness now, though. Right. He's questionable now. It could turn to COVID.
It could.
Jordan Lewis is on the COVID list. So they could potentially be down 3 of their top 4 corners. They got all sorts of problems at safety. Donovan Wilson, illness. He was added late. Mm-hmm. Jaron Kearse has a hamstring. I doubt he'll play. Malik Hooker, COVID list. This would have been a great evaluation game for him. See, we want to bring him back next year. Oops, he's on the COVID list.
I forgot Malik Hooker was on the Cowboys. Has he been playing?
He didn't play a lot, yeah.
Oh, okay.
There were a couple games where he got a decent amount of playing time because Donovan Wilson was out for several weeks. Mm-hmm. But no, Jaron Kearse has revived his career after Minnesota, where he got benched. He's done a nice job here. But, yeah, so here's the problem now, trying to figure this game out. This is why, folks, we changed the format of this. We don't know who the hell's playing. They
no matter
don't
how
know, though.
long
They
they're
have
playing,
access. I'm sorry?
or how long they're playing.
Right. Well, here's what they're doing. They have access to their COVID levels, right?
Yeah.
So that's why they'll know. Let's say the number they have to reach, the minimum is 35. Let's say they're 25.
Right.
The night before, they know that the guy's probably not going to play. So they'll go, okay, well, definitely won't be available. So we're going to do this. Yeah, they have the contingency plan tonight. That always before the night before your game, you know who your inactives are, and you finalize playing time. This is what coaches do before every game. They'll meet with the personnel staff, decide who the inactives are. So the Eagles have a tough thing here. None of the COVIDs came off, all 12 on the 53-man roster. Plus you got injuries, but again, you gotta have you can't bench every starter who's available. I mean, Lane Johnson he didn't practice this week. He's not playing. You're not gonna have I bet $100 he doesn't play. Why? Because he didn't, as you said, he didn't practice. In a game that doesn't mean anything to them, you're not playing him.
You are a segue master, Adam Caplan, because you just talked. You said you would bet $100 that Landon Dickerson wouldn't play, and you didn't even have.
No,
to
I said Lane. I said Lane. I didn't say Lane.
I'm sorry, Lane. Although I at this point it's hard to see Landon Dickerson playing with the thumb injury. But
true. I was going to ask you that.
Yeah. To your point, you said Lane Johnson. You bet $100 Lane Johnson wouldn't play. And you didn't even use our friends at BetQL. I mean, you didn't follow the 350,000 unique bets a year that goes into the best bet model that BetQL uses to give you a best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports and the reason why you should place the bet. You know, they've got that model that covers everything from spreads to over-unders and player prop bets. And if you don't want to use the model, if you prefer to do the research yourself, BetQL has the necessary tools for your betting research needs, from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineup and injury breaking news, all that great stuff. They even have a leaderboards, right, to track your success. So you just go to App Store or go to the Google Play Store now, download BetQL. There's also a website. It's called try.betql.co/ITB where you can get started, and you enter the discount code ITB at payment checkout for 25% off their subscription offerings. And they've got this awesome sportsbook offers page. If you live in one of the eligible states to claim free offers upon signing up at one of the many sportsbooks listed, you can get that free offer. So don't miss out on the chance to beat your sportsbook this football season using BetQL. You see what kind of segue master you were there? That was perfect. Now, maybe you could come up with a really good prop.
A prop for Lane playing?
For Lane playing, or a handy, like an over-under there.
If Lane plays one snap, even one snap in this game, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have I always wanted to do this anyway. I wanted to have like a fan co-host, like we should have a contest.
Okay.
Where we, like in the spring, one of our ITB TV things for like 20 minutes. Love to have.
That's a great idea.
I would love to. I love. It pisses me off that we can't when we did the pregame show last year at the bar that closed in Philly.
Oh, Goose Island, yeah.
Right, but because of COVID, we can't get in front of anyone. Right. We can't. We're able to for our pregame in our game. We're done our game watches for the casino we're doing with. But I miss seeing people, man. It really bothers me that we can't do that. It was one of the things that Geoff and I had been planning 2 years ago before COVID hit. Once our show started taking off, and we're
no doubt about it. Yeah. Well, we will. We could have created a prop, but we leave that stuff to the experts like DraftKings Sportsbook, and of course, we've hit the final week of the pro football regular season. College football is headed into the national championship, and DraftKings Sportsbook has an unbelievable offer to get all fans in on the action for this exciting time on the football calendar. New customers can bet just $5 on any football team to win its game, and if that team wins, you win $200 in free bets. So let's wind down the season with a big win on DraftKings Sportsbook. Customers can also bet with same-game parlays. You combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code ITB Bet just $5 on any football team, that's college or pro, and win $200 in free bets if that team is victorious. Promo code ITB this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. You got to be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, new customers only, restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. Well, as you mentioned this offense, Adam, and who's going to play in the offensive line, and whether it's, makes sense to play Jalen Hurts, it brings up a broader concern, the injuries in general, that we talked about a little bit at the top of the show. The running game has been the Eagles' bread and butter. The offensive line and the running game, that package there has been the Eagles' bread and butter since they turned it around from 2-5. And you're looking at a scenario here where Miles Sanders is not going to play against Dallas. And as we've been telling you for a couple of weeks, pretty iffy, not ruling it out, just saying pretty iffy that he's going to be able to play in the first round of the playoffs. Okay, so you can withstand maybe the loss of Miles Sanders, but you also now have Jordan Howard, who's been playing through this stinger/shoulder AC joint sprain. And as we talked about on the film review podcast and even on the game podcast, he did not run the same way. He was tentative. You can see it. It was pretty obvious. He's a downhill runner who's absorbing contact on a shoulder that doesn't feel good. So that's not a great thing. And I've talked to Jason, talked to some other people who played the game, Jason Avant, about the AC and the shoulder and the stinger. And is it something that can dramatically improve over a week? And then be like, it really needs a lot of time, especially the nerve element, the stinger element. Mm-hmm. As you saw with Jordan Howard the first time around, he missed so much time. So I can't sit here and tell you that whoever they play in the first round, that they're going to be in that much better shape from their running game standpoint. And so I think that's a little bit of a concern here. Maybe even more than a little bit just going forward.
Well, okay, so let's move this forward here. Because this is the best way to look at the show, because we have no idea who's going to play near to these teams yet.
Right.
They just don't know with COVID who will be available. They have some idea, but they don't know a total idea. So the way I'm looking at it is this. You mentioned earlier, I'm getting Gainwell a lot of playing time in this game. Because if Howard, we noticed the second half of the season, he was the guy who was first half season had a role, second half not much of a role. And they've been almost every week the coaches go with just two backs. If Sanders is not available, which is highly probable, not definite, but it's not looking good for him to be ready week one of the playoffs. If he's not, they need some juice. To me, this is a perfect time to feature him in this game against Dallas. I don't care who's playing for Dallas. It's not the point. The point is I want to see him be explosive. They need juice. You know why they struggled last week in week 17 against Washington, other than their line did not play particularly well with the run? No explosion. No one explosive in the backfield. Boston Scott's got good short area quickness. He doesn't have the juice that Sanders has. And Gainwell has it, I think, but I like to see it.
Yeah, no, I also think for this game coming up against Dallas, obviously you want to get Gainwell his work, but Boston Scott's another guy who, as we record this, has been on the COVID list all week, and I don't know how much you want to play him, even if he's available without any practice. So you've got Kerryon Johnson, and you got Jason Huntley, right?
Yep.
I think I would like to see them, just to see them. Because if Kerryon Johnson is healthy, he may not be dynamic, but he's a good pass protector. We know that. Look, you might need a downhill power runner if Jordan Howard's situation doesn't improve a whole lot. Just because what if Jordan Howard just gets hurt somewhere else? And by the way, he's also got this knee sprain that he's coming off as well. The point is you need depth, you need backup, you need to know what you have. We have not seen Jason Huntley run the ball like ever in 2 years. They did this with Elijah Holyfield last year. It's like, my God, he's been on the team.
2 years.
All over the place. Yeah, 2 years. Right. And now it's 2 years for Jason Huntley, basically, where you had him on the squad. You got a chance to use him.
Great point. 100%. This is a wonderful – it's almost in a sense like a preseason game. Yet some starters may play. I expect them, if they play – no more than a quarter. You can't. And again, it's so fluid because they don't quite know from COVID who will be available and who won't be. So to move this forward here, this is the way I look at the offense. And defense won't take very long. I would go the blocking receiver, Arcega-Whiteside. He should play a lot. Greg Ward should play a lot. Watkins, give him a run. I think it's worth playing him. Now I know he's in the rotation. You don't want to play him a lot, but you could play him. Your guy Hightower, who you mentioned earlier, Keyshawn Johnson. Yep.
What about the other kid, Deion Kane?
He's not with the team anymore.
Oh, when did that happen? Oh, that's right. I forgot they cut him
weeks ago. Yeah, and I was not happy.
Right? Yeah, I thought he had
What's that?
Didn't he have some speed to his game?
Well, he was a player. He was in his rookie season with the Colts. He was phenomenal in their OTAs. I was talking to Chris Ballard about it a couple years ago. They thought he was going to be the steal. He might have been a 6th-round pick. I know he was late. He was their best rookie by far in OTAs. And then either he blew it out in their last OTA or early in training camp. I can't remember if 18 or 19. I don't remember. But he was never the same. He went to Steelers. He's just never been the same. It's just so sad because they knew you kind of know it when you see it. Like you go, oh my goodness, we got this one right. This guy could be special. And and then, that's obviously why he came. I'm sure Sirianni had something to do with it because he was with him.
Right. Oh, just sprung into my head as we were talking about some of these guys in the practice squad who can play.
Yeah.
Dallas Goedert is another guy. Been on the COVID list all week, has not practiced. Don't really need to see him. I mean, if you want to play him a few snaps, but same with Stoll's been on. Play Tyree Jackson and then call up Noah Togiai. We talk about this offensive line, right? We know Togiai can block. You're a little worried about Jalen Hurts getting hit in forever, how long he's out there. Just put Togiai out there in 12 for as long as you can. He's like an extra lineman.
Guess what?
Oh, wait, he's on the list too, isn't he?
No. Well, he was. He's back off of it. Richard Rogers.
Yeah, but I specifically want Togiai because I know
he's
a good blocker.
Guess what?
Rogers is bad, but
no, but they'll both have to be up. They don't have a choice. If Goddard and Still are out, then they'll be called up as COVID-19 replacements. You because you can't go in with one tight end and you want to have 3 if you could help it.
Right.
So yeah, I would, because they're free moves anyway because they're COVID replacements. Sure. You got it all. Luke Jariga could be brought up. Owoshika, who they keep protecting every week. They obviously like him. That would be it offensively. I think that's I would expect a slew of moves later today. They could also do them Saturday, I believe, because it's because the game got moved up. I not 100% sure because the rules seem to change. Like they have this odd rule on you're not allowed to bring any players up on Sunday for 1:00 game, but you could sign players off your practice squad for a Monday night game on Monday. I don't know why the league does some stuff I don't understand. Mike Reese, my buddy from ESPN.com, we would have these. There's certain things of these transactions. We go, could we find out why this is? Because we want a straight answer. We can never get a straight answer on this stuff.
It is because it is. That's probably the answer.
I guess.
All right. That pretty much finishes off our offensive outlook there. So we'll get to defense in a second. First, we want to tell you about our friends at PHLSportsNation.com. They are enhancing the fans' experience with their coverage of Philadelphia sports teams. They are for the fan, by the fan. That is their motto. So make sure you go check out all their great work. They've got podcasts. They've got content all over the place. PHLSportsNation.com. And on Twitter, at PHLSportsNation. And we'll pause real quick for another word from our great sponsors, including our friends at Sky Motor Cars. All right, and if you do check out our friends at Sky Motor Cars out there in Westchester, PA, make sure you tell them Adam and Geoff sent you. You'll get a great deal. All right, defense. Now, the defensive line thing, you kind of get the same questions. Do you really want to play Fletcher Cox? Because if you lost him or Javon Hargrave, you'd really be in trouble. But this is one of those areas that we talked about. You can't just not play your linemen because you don't have 5 other linemen to go out there and throw onto the field. Although Fletch was also on the COVID list, if I'm not mistaken, too, right? Was he on it?
Fletcher is, yes, sir. Yes,
sir. Yeah. So we'll see there. I suppose you could play a tackle tandem of Milton Williams and Marlon Tuipulotu, but I don't. I mean,
Ridgeway? Yeah, Ridgeway.
Oh, Hassan Ridgeway. My God, has Hassan Ridgeway made a play in 6 weeks? I don't think we've said his name since September.
You know what's
Is he
unbelievable?
playing?
First of all, he's been with the Eagles for 3 years.
I know.
How is that even possible?
He's been with the team longer than Jalen Hurts.
He's been with Nick Sirianni and John Gannon on and off. Because he started with the Colts in 16.
He's been on the team as long as Avonte Maddox and Dallas Goedert.
Well, not technically. They were in 18. He got there in 19. But
Oh yeah, my fault. That's right.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, he's missed. Well, it was funny. I remember we put this on a show in August. He missed their flash player.
Mhm.
He'll make some like He-Man plays, and then you don't see him again.
I gotta go check his snap. I just can't even remember seeing. Because basically he is getting phased out a little bit. You're seeing Milton Williams, deservedly so, get a lot more time. Sure. And then isn't there someone else who's been playing a little bit of defensive tackle? It's not Tui Pelosi.
No, it's Milton Williams. Milton Williams has been the man.
Yeah, that's really their 3-man rotation.
Ridgeway's the fourth.
I'm laughing at myself. I almost forgot Hassan Ridgeway was on the team.
So did I, because we've never talked to him about.
He played 9 snaps against Washington.
I don't remember, but here's the thing: we haven't talked about him all year, not once.
We really haven't.
The faithful listeners will tell us that we're wrong, and I'll admit it. Let me know if we've talked about him. I can't remember because people will point out stuff. Oh, don't you remember week 3? You said this. I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm not going to go back and listen. I'm taking your word for it.
I'll tell you, the last time we probably said his name was probably the podcast Monday morning after the Lions win, because he had a sack against the Lions.
He's got a great dance, by the way. We saw it in training camp. Really good dance.
Definitely.
Oh, here's the guy who's going to play, and I encourage you to watch this video. It's really great. Cameron Malvo, the media's relations staff of the Eagles put him with the media. He was phenomenal. You have to watch this interview.
I was on the call.
Oh, you were on. Okay, great. Wasn't he great?
He was fantastic. Good story. Great story.
What a story.
Yeah.
He threw discus. I looked it up because I didn't know anything about him. So he was talking about it. As he was talking, I was looking up. I was like, wow, this guy's got quite the career. Well, as he said, he was a late bloomer. He didn't play football till late.
That was my question. That was me. I said,
right?
Do you consider yourself a late bloomer? Yeah.
That was great. No, good job out of you.
Yeah, he gave a great answer.
That was great. No, he was phenomenal.
Yeah. What stood out about that, Cameron Malvo? How many different teams? I didn't realize it was 6 different teams.
Yep. Some twice.
Really upbeat kid. He has played 2 games, I think, for the Browns before he played with the Eagles. He has 2 career sacks, but he's really getting ready to play in the playoffs. The first, he reminds me a little bit of Stephen Means, who just bounced around a whole lot of places, but the Eagles gave him an opportunity. He was a great special teams player for him. And everybody on the team would tell you, Means went at it in practice harder than anybody.
Good dude, too. Really
great
good dude.
I got to know Steve a little bit. Really good dude. Then he went down in Atlanta, did same things there. Then he tore his ACL.
What? He started this year. He was starting part of the year at the end.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Outside linebacker. Sorry.
Rush linebacker, probably. Yep. Yeah.
34
he's the guy who perseveres. And that's what this Malvo kid kind of reminds me of. Just very upbeat and just happy to have the opportunity and never gave up.
Yep. I was so blown away. I just on a lark, because I saw it said Cameron Malvo's up next. Well, he's been playing a lot. I wonder what his story is, because he's been with Miami, Arizona, Kansas City, Washington, Niners, Cleveland, Eagles. Mm-hmm. And he's been playing so much. I'm like, well, what's the story? And man, he couldn't wait to tell you guys. It was pretty good.
It was pretty awesome. I just remember not last week, or the first time he started to play extensively, I guess, was the week before against the Giants, right? That second game against the Giants. And he was in on a tackle early. And I'm like, oh, Jannard Avery is out there. I'm like, wait, nope, this is 59, not 58. And then I was like, who is 59? Well, 59? I haven't seen a 59 out on the field there all year. Is he a fullback? What's going on here? But,
it could be. Today's NFL. Right.
So it's a good story for him.
He's older, too. He turns 28 in August, but that's because he's been in the league. This is year number 5.
Shocked me. That is what shocked me. Yeah, that he was 28 years old, and he still was persevering there. Most guys are going to say, "Man, I've been on practice squads here for 5 or 6 years. It's not really cutting it," but he stayed with it. That's cool.
They might be, and he did say, and I'm sure this is why he's here. Jeremiah Washburn was with him in Miami, because I guess he said on your call that they said hello to each other. Maybe it was his decision. Maybe it was his. Because remember,
I think it was Stoutland that he said. Was it Washburn? I thought he said Stoutland.
No, he said Washburn, Jeremiah, because they were together with the Dolphins. Jeremiah was their offensive line coach of the Dolphins who was there.
Right.
So look, they might be onto something. You can't teach size. He's got great energy, as you know, from passion for the job.
Mm-hmm.
He flashes. Who knows? They've gotten the thing about this football team is, and I know there's this big debate whether the GM should is top 5, top 10, top 50. I'm kind of laughing. It's been like a big subject in social media and on the talk airwaves and stuff. But listen, this is the team that found a rugby player who might be one of the left tackles in team history by the time he's done. Maybe the best left tackle. Maybe.
Oh,
I don't want to go any further.
You.
I know. I'm just saying, but I'm not saying, as George Costanza once said.
Of course. By the way, from a defensive standpoint, the Eagles are going to have to prepare to see Dak Prescott, but also Cooper Rush, who I think went 2-0 or 1-1.
Well, that Sunday night game, I remember. I had the Vikings fantasy defense. It was a Sunday night, I don't know, whatever week, middle of the season. I'm like, this is going to be great. He's not going to, he stinks. He tore them apart. I was like, what the hell? Timing, rhythm, he was so good that game. I'm like, he's never played this well. It just figures, But no, he's not bad. Cooper Rush, I got to give the Dallas credit because he did not do well before really he got a chance to play this year. But you know what? Sometimes guys need a chance. Because Ben, not Dominic DiNucci, was not the guy. That's for
sure. Somebody should hire Kellen Moore as their head coach this offseason.
Well, the Jags will get their chance when he interviews. Actually, it's going to happen any day now through, as I understand, through could be Microsoft Teams or Skype or something, or like we're doing here.
Right. So Doug versus Kellen Moore, maybe, huh?
Could be, because I would think that they will hire an offensive coach to keep developing the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. But if you're going to hire a defensive guy like Todd Bowles, who I'm a big fan of, you better have someone who could develop a quarterback, because that's the struggles these defensive guys have. They don't always hire the best offensive staff. So,
right. Who was Todd's offensive coordinator when he was with the Jets?
It was.
Oh, God, I can see it now. I can't.
He had John Morton.
Yeah.
He got fired. And remember the story. He was going to hire DiFilippo, but the Eagles blocked him.
Right. That's right. Yeah. No, I would like to see Todd Bowles get a second chance with a different organization, a better one. I'm not sure Jacksonville's a better one. Yeah. So, I'm not sure. If the Jags hire Bill O'Brien, oh, my God.
What, Bill O'Brien? Is that out there?
There was some report on that today, that they may have interest in Bill O'Brien.
Really?
Oh, I didn't. They just said the Jags had some interest. I didn't know if there was an official interview stuff, but man, you go from Urban Meyer to Bill O'Brien. Good luck to you.
I mean,
I like Bill O'Brien. I'm one of the few who like him because I'm a Penn State guy and he did so much for our program.
He did a great job. Oh my God.
Yeah, he did an unbelievable job. But I mean, what happened in Houston can't be ignored.
Well, he shouldn't be, but he should not have gotten personnel control. That was stupid by Cal McNair. Never should have given it to him.
Right.
But anyway, so that's pretty much it. I mean, defensively, you just outlined it. I would say, we talked about the guys who should play on defense against Dallas's offense. McLeod's on the COVID list. Epps is on the COVID list. Chachere was on the COVID list last week. Do you need to see him? He's one of their key special teams players. Do you need to see him?
I mean, are you trying to win the game or you're not trying to win the game? That's
Well, here's what you can do. You could play Craig James.
Yeah, you could.
Your guy, Matt Leo, could come up. He could be a call-up.
Matt Leo.
I know. Here's one. No, actually, before we get out of here, I do want to mention on Kerryon Johnson why it's important that he plays, or at least if they get a shot to play him. Got to see where that knee is. Because, as you said, the guy is super gifted. This guy's a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Go give him a shot. Did
he play? I know the Niners signed him earlier this year. Did he actually play for them at all? I mean, they had every injury under the sun at running back. Did he wind up?
Correction. Deion Kane is still on their practice squad.
I had a feeling he was.
Yes, he's still on it. So you know what? Call him up. So if people are saying, "Oh wait, you said earlier he's not," I'm saying it now. He is. I'm going through the revised list and I'm seeing. I'm just looking for anyone who could possibly play. But, there's Deion Kane at the bottom of it. So But he should play definitely if his knee's fine. Yeah, that's it. It's pretty much, we've mentioned everyone else, but as you said, you can't rest everyone. Here's one more for you. Should Kerrigan play?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Teron Jackson.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely play. Right?
Are you afraid of losing Teron Jackson?
Oh, no. Kevon Wallace, this is his game. Get him some practical playing time here.
Yes, Kevon Wallace, get him out there. Sure. Anyone else I can think of that I'd like to see out there? I almost forget anymore. It used to be so easy to know who's on the practice squad.
I'm sorry?
It used to be easy to remember who's on the practice squad because
they
were smaller and it was less fluid. Now there are a billion guys on the practice squad.
Oh, here's one. I
remember half of them.
This dude, he's gonna be right up there with Vandervelde. How about Casey Tucker finally playing for the Eagles?
Oh, that would be wonderful. Can they sign Michael Jacquet back just to play him in this game?
Yeah.
How about Michael Jacquet? Get him out there.
I believe he's back with Jacksonville's practice squad. I saw the transaction last week. I believe he's still there.
Okay. All right.
Maybe they could sign him off there and play him. No, I'm just kidding.
But seriously, though, what linebackers other than Jacoby Stevens could they potentially put out there?
Take a look at.
Again, Taylor's out, and you're probably going to want to sit Singleton and T.J. Edwards after a little bit. So they may have to get creative and play some interesting kind of dime because they got more defensive backs than they do linebackers.
I'm looking at that. I was just going to say they don't have anyone left.
Gennard Avery's on the COVID list too.
Yep.
I wonder if they pick up a linebacker.
Christian Ellis, they could play. Luther's son,
yeah.
They could play him. They just brought him back last week. Yeah,
sure. So you could have Ellis and Stevenson play 60% of the snaps.
Well, again, you can't bring up 18 players for this game, but
Well, those would be COVID replacements though, because
12 you've got. Yeah, you've got 12 COVID moves. Yes.
Yeah.
Denver, it was unbelievable. They had, it's similar to the Eagles. They had the highest testing number for one day. And I was like, who are these guys? They're bringing up some dudes I've not heard of. I know
a practice squad wide receiver at quarterback last year.
Oh, the kid.
Kendall Hinton.
Good call. Yep. So, folks, that's what we're dealing with here. We're sorry to waste your time going through all this thing, but we'll have fun. We're going to do a first time ever quick post-game show to kind of summarize what we saw, what we're going to see. Show drops Monday with more detailed injuries, any potential lineup changes, more on Miles Sanders, hopefully. And then we'll get a little tape about how these guys look. By the way, we'll find out how these guys looked.
Yes, we will.
Your guy Malvo.
Right. See, that's right, Cam Malvo, and of course Minshew's probably going to play. So I'm sure we'll have a little bit of Minshew mania there for the
Reed Sinnett, man.
Oh, Reed Sinnett.
Forgot my bad.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. Big thanks as always to Hunter Brody, our producer. You can check out his work on YouTube. His channel is called Sports Talk with Broads, and his website is called broadsmedia.com. And plus, congratulations. He's been getting a lot of playtime there at 97.5 The Fanatic and filling in for a lot of big-time spots. He was doing the Drive Time show, replacing Mike Missinelli the other day. So good job by him. And we thank you, of course, for flying with us inside the bird.